Hi, my name is Russell Lucas. I am a theatre maker and I interview other theatre makers. So I wanted to get Laura onto the channel to talk to her about what it's been like or what it is like performing in English. She's originally from Madrid, and since being over here, she has also worked for the Spanish theatre company in Waterloo at the Cervantes Theatre. And I went to see her perform a couple of months ago in a piece at the Tristan Bates, and what was really striking was I'd noticed how hard she had worked on her English language and her pronunciation, which we talk about in this interview. And then digging a bit deeper, I find out that she performs in Spanish and in English and then sometimes flips back in the same week. And I wanted to know what that was like for her. So do enjoy and click to subscribe.
Hola, Lara.
Hola, hola Russell. How are you?
I'm good. You?
Good, good. Thank you for having me.
That's all right. No, thank you for coming to talk to us today. Um, every single interview, I'm getting people to tell us about you. So tell us about the work that you've done in the past. Tell us about maybe the work that you've got coming up in the future. But I'm going to ask you a question I haven't asked anybody before. How do you define yourself before we get into your work? How do you define yourself these days? Do you say that you're a performer, actor, actress, theatre maker?
I will say more of a theatre maker here. I always have considered myself more as an actor, an actress. But yeah, I think that's one of the things that I learned when I came to live here in UK, that suddenly you are allowed to expand that career in something that is richer, and I start to call myself a theatre maker.
Wow.
I don't know if I have won the title yet, but definitely my mindset have changed.
Yeah, that's interesting because I think the term theatre maker it has manifested to bring everything into one title, because these days, as theatre makers, we are generally taking more control. We are having to produce, write, perform, find the funding. All these things are now within our skill set, and the term theatre maker seems correct. In the same way that the term filmmaker is useful as well. I think you're a project manager, everything. Okay, cool. So tell us about the work you've made in the past and the work that you've got coming up. I know that some of this is in Madrid, and did you go to Italy?
I went to Italy, yes, also to Reggio Emilia in the north. So yes, basically, I studied in Madrid. That is where I'm from. And when I finished drama school, I started to do that kind of work that I have been trained in. That usually was more theater and text-orientated theater. And after 2 years, I decided to go to Italy, as you say, and to do something very, very different, that is to study Commedia dell'arte. I was there for 3 months, and it was something that really, really changed my point of view. I was studying there with another 29 actors from all around the world, and it was the first time that I also realized how diversity can help to theater, how also all actors from different countries see the experience to tell a story in a very different way. And yeah, that was the point where I started to think about the importance of the body, of the physical theater. I think I found very, very useful tools for our craft, like improvisation, work with mask. And also it's really interesting to know that at that time, that it was when the first professional theater companies started, actors were the ones that creating the whole thing, the whole process. There wasn't a test. They were improvising.
Mhm.
And yeah, there was a director that usually was another one of the actors, and they decide the how to tell the story, and yeah, that was something that I really liked. And but after when I went back to Madrid, kind of forget in a way, and I started doing other kind of things. I work in theater in education. I was touring Spain for a year and a half with a play for schools, and also that changed my point of view of the work of an actor,
Right.
because yeah, it's completely different experience.
Mm. Is it fair to say then that Spanish theatre currently is more text-based?
Yes, I think that's correct. Yeah, there are some festivals, especially more in Catalonia, where you can find a little more physical theater. But I think in Madrid and in the rest of Spain is more yeah, text based, classicals or new writing, but text.
Yeah. And so are you more interested in making original theatre, or are you also interested in classic theatre, published plays? What's your favourite part?
It's so difficult. I don't know. I love working in classicals. I love to work with verse, for example, because I think it's a challenge to communicate, and also it gives you a lot of different feelings. But I also love new writing. I think the main thing is to do something that is meaningful in a way, that you feel that what you're doing, yeah, that has a sense, is telling a story that still is relevant.
Mm.
And I think you can do that with classicals and also with yeah, contemporary plays.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. What type of things do you want to be doing in the next year, for instance? What's your goals, your ambition to go? Yeah, I really want to try this now, or maybe you want to try musical theatre, or I don't know.
Well, musical theater, no. My skills are not on that side, so um, I would like to do, yeah, actually it's the same kind of thing, to do some work that you feel that is meaningful, that tells a story that needs to be told right now. And also I would really like to do something that is also diverse, that you can mix with different creators from different point of view, you know, like different countries around the world. I also like that. And also I like to do something that is accessible. I'm also all about accessibility. I don't like to do work that I feel that is only for people who are in theater, you know,
Yeah.
like to have an audience that is also diverse. So I think that will be the aim. And yes, to be more specific, I would like to do a play that actually you came to see, that is based in verbatim stories of real women about motherhood, and I really would like to find a house for that play, because I think it's a story that needs to be told.
Yes. Now, just in case anybody hasn't cottoned on that's watching this, you do live in London.
Yes.
So tell us, if you can, how did you then come here? What was the driving force to you coming to London and working here?
So I moved here 8 years ago, and well, I was living in Madrid. It was quite a hard time at that point, because we have the 2008 crisis. Have already kicked in at that point. You know, it's affected not only theater or art, but the life of a lot of people. So there wasn't any work. It was a hard moment, and my boyfriend, he always wanted to come to London. He had been by then for the last 3 years saying, let's go to London, let's go to London. So I decided that at that point, you know, like there wasn't too much to lose. So it was the moment to go. So yeah, we came with the idea to be here 6 months, 1 year, and that was 8 years ago.
Wow, that's great, because that ties into what you're actually going to talk to us about today, which is your thoughts on performing in English as your second language.
Yeah.
So I guess the first question I'd like to know your thoughts on is, what's it like performing in another language? Um, do you approach the role differently? Do you approach the text differently? I mean, your English is brilliant, so
Well,
I never expect that you have any sort of like trouble with understanding words. But I wonder if there is something either lost in translation or something that you have to really study further. It's that thing that you know, when you start to learn another language, it takes a while for you to start to think in that language rather than find the words. So is there something in the actor interpretation that you found interesting, maybe you could share with us from when you perform in Spanish and English?
so, well, there is a part of the work that is the same, that is read the play, understand the play, analyze it, analyze the character. I have to look a lot of time for words because you don't understand what the meaning is, or because you don't understand the meaning in that situation, because yes, there is some time that there are expressions, and as you say, you get lost in translation. And after once that I'm sure that I understand everything and I know how the character is, I start to work in my pronunciation. I don't know if all bilingual actors do this, but I have a quite a strong accent, so I need to do it to make sure that that my speech is clear. So I check the pronunciation of all the words that I don't feel comfortable saying. I repeat, because there is a part of the language that is intellectual, you know, the sounds, and other part that is physical, that is the muscles of your mouth, how you make that sound. And after that, I work in the rhythm, the intonation, that is also very, very different to Spanish. English language is really, you know, can expand a word or syllable, or can, you know, say 3 words in a really, really small time. So get that, listen as much as I can to other people talk. Sometimes I become quite obsessive and I start to repeating words that I heard of people saying. And so yeah, it's like it's a focus there. It's something that you know that you have to work with, because also it's very different to talk a language and to act or perform in that language, because there is also a connection with words, your emotions with words or your thoughts with words. So toward that connection in a second language is more complex. And for example, sometimes I feel that I need to improvise in my own language to find things, and after to check if I can put it in my English speech, because yeah, there are two very, very different languages, and at the end of the day, the language is a reflection of the thought, of the way you think, or the way you behave. Yeah, we all think with words. So
Yeah. Yeah, so it's funny you describing that. It almost sounds very similar to what I would go through as an actor anyway. I appreciate that there is the language. Maybe we're having two conversations in some ways, because if, as an actor, if I get text, I look at the text, I then start to analyze the text, I then start to research words maybe I don't understand. Then I try to make sure that my mouth memorizes it without me thinking about it. And then the meaning will come, the translation will come of the playwright. So in some ways, it sounds like you're almost playing the same game, but it has to come through the filter of interpretation of the language as well, maybe.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, totally. I agree completely with that. And yeah, sometimes you also need to know, like, of course, I never gonna perform a British woman, you know, like a woman who has been born in Britain, because uh, I think at the moment it's not in my range. So like before I was quite obsessed with my accent, and now it's like, well, it's what I have. I can try to make it more open to read other characters, or I can make it more Spanish even. But is my selling point also as an actor, you know. So let's embrace it
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah. I think the world is changing, isn't it? And it's becoming more open, and yeah, it's a good future ahead, I reckon. Uh,
yeah,
so so now you lived here for 8 years, you said,
yeah.
and you perform in English and in Spanish, um,
Mm-hmm.
various times. Um, what's it like working in the UK? Because now you've stayed, so obviously something is working for you, um,
Yeah.
and I've seen you perform, and I can see that you always seem to be really busy. So you seem to be doing okay. I don't know. How's it all going for you to work in the UK?
Well, it's going all right. Yeah, I have to be grateful to this industry because it's giving me work. Um, I I mean, being honest, my expectations when I came were very low. So, but after I realized that, yeah, I don't know if you can say this about the whole England or whole Great Britain, but definitely London, it has such a strong theater industry that and is so diverse that you can find a space for you to develop your work. And I find also that I was able to perform in Spanish in theaters, but also in schools doing theater and education. So I found theater industry here in UK is quite, it's very strong. It's also very diverse. So it gives you a lot of tools to make a career. You can perform in very different venues, but you also have other places like theater and education. Have a lot of work there. Um, how you can say well, yeah, also like teaching
Yeah.
theater, there is a big market also there. And at the same time, film, television, and publicity they are also strong industries, so they give you opportunities to do things there. So it's maybe you're not doing like the leading roles of, like but you always find work in a way or another. And that is something that really I really love about London, that it's so huge that it's not easy, but it's possible to find your space.
Mm.
And also you have other works like day works that are also flexible, so they can give you a push when you need it. That
Mm.
sometimes I felt in Spain that even to find a day job, they are more rigid. And also it's hard to find a day job. So sometimes it's like yeah, that I felt that I wasn't in the right place in my mind also, because you have so many things going on, like to think about at the end of the month how you're gonna pay your bills.
Mm.
That here I feel that I'm more protected as an artist.
Yeah. It's something that I think I've thought about a lot, that although we talk about the theatre industry being one animal, I don't actually believe it is. I think that we all have our own versions of our theatre industry. We all operate in our own little ecosystem. And it's the same way with London. I feel like whenever I hear anybody's moving to London, I say you have to make your version of London. You have to make your world. And I think it's the same for our trade, that you have to go, right, that works for me, that works for me, that's where I can live, that's where I can exist, that's where I can make work. And this is my version of my theatre industry that I've made that works for me. And that seems kind of what yeah, you're saying, that you've
Yeah,
made.
there are also Yeah, totally. There are also other tools here that now they are starting also in I don't know in Europe, but at least in Spain, that it make to get the process of getting work clearer, like more transparent. like well, Spotlight, all these tools, you know, like you can see the auditions that are going, the projects that are coming. I think they are really, really important tools for actors. And in Spain, when I was there really wasn't. You know, castings are quite secretive. And now there are other nets that are being created, like Italenta, that is Europe, and there is getting now some space in Spain. But that that ability to get to see the casting, what is going on, I think is what put me more in power of my career as an actor when I came here. So I think that's one of the things that changed it for me.
Yes, yeah, like the transparency, and you have more options to keep in control of stuff and at least find your way. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think sometimes maybe in the UK we have a huge we have self-criticism going on all the time. Like we're always criticizing each other, but I think that's super healthy, because it just means that the industry is wounded, then it heals, then wounds, it heals, and it wounds, it heals. And I think it becomes a bit more adaptable for the thing that it's supposed to support. So then, strange question, but does it ever go the other way? Do you ever hear of British actors going to Spain?
Well, being honest, not a lot. I haven't heard that. I know British companies going to Spain to perform in festivals, and they have really great audience, and people are loving to, you know, they are looking forward to seeing them. But I don't know any British actor who has gone there to develop a career. Another different things, like you get a job, an acting job here, and it's recorded, it's shot there. You know, in Spain, that can happen. Also, I think that maybe on TV, maybe more than TV, film, it's more open, especially for British roles or for American roles. Now you get more British actors or American actors. And also in the past and film, I've seen American actors performing in a Spanish plays, like a Spanish actor, but they have been dubbed.
Right.
You know, so it's not their voice.
Yeah.
So Pedro Almodovar has done that in the past. I think Garci also. So yeah, it's also, I think it's like the industry in Spain is not that big, it's not that strong like the industry here in UK. So I don't think that a lot of British actors feel the need to go there just to develop a career, you know.
So now you've been here for 8 years. What is unique about the British theatre industry? Because you've seen, you know, you've worked in Italy, Spain, and here. Now, what's unique? Not necessarily better, but sometimes it's nice for, I think, British theatre makers to hear about ourselves. It's terribly vain. Tell us why we're good.
No, well, but I think you are good, guys. Now, one of the things that I find that is unique about, well, I don't know if it's unique, but I really found it surprised me a lot, and I really love about UK is that theatre, that British people really love theatre. They really love theatre, people in general, you know, it's not like Theatremakers, people in general. And theatre is something that is inside their life very early. So, you know, you have theatre in the school, like a subject, and that in Spain doesn't happen at all. So I feel that also when that people, you know, that those children that are grown up doing Shakespeare in their schools and having theatre like such an important part of their life, like something that is there, that is normal, that is there after they go to the theatre. So that also makes a very diverse audience. So, and I think that happens all across UK, I will dare to say. But after talking more about London, that is what I really know. I also think that that diversity, you can also find it in the people who are making the theater. You know, actors, directors, writers, producers. London is such a rich city in in that aspect, that it's maybe it's a bubble, but it really creates a space where a lot of people are creating things together. So I also think that there are not that many cities in the world that can do that. And for example, that is what has allowed me to perform in Spanish and in English. And I don't think you can do that in many cities around. Maybe New York, for sure, New York, you can perform in Spanish. And they have also this diversity of people creating art. But yeah, I think it's one of the things that make it unique, especially in London, and that I love the most.
Yeah. The one thing you said there, which I think is one of the reasons that it's in our culture, is because you mentioned about theatre. Children are exposed to theatre at a young age in the UK, which, having worked in the education system for a long time in the Midlands and here, it's true that although we want it to be 10 times better, music and Shakespeare performance, assemblies, songs, all this is still very much within the lifeblood of the education system. We have to fiercely defend it, and obviously we all worry that it's diminishing, and who knows. But yeah, so I think that's kind of what I picked up from what you're saying, is that it's probably the education system.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I agree. I think that with the music is the same. It's, music in Spain is not as big as here. I mean, you are not exposed to that from a young age, like you are here. There are some areas of Spain that is more, also like Spain is a country that has very different regions, and each region have a local government. So education also can change quite a lot from one area to another. But yeah, definitely I and my generation, I'm from the 80s, we weren't exposed to music as much, or theater. And its culture is different. And even now I feel that people who are my age, they don't go to the theater that much. In Madrid they go to see musicals, or they go to see foreigner companies coming in, this kind of thing. But people don't go to French theater. The audience that you can find in the French theaters a lot of times are friends of the actors, the director, and that make the work that is not able to grow that much.
Yeah. So in London, just as the last question, extra question, you worked for the Spanish Theatre Company in
Yes.
Waterloo area, wasn't it? Yes.
Yeah.
Just briefly tell us about that place, because many people won't know about it.
Okay, so the Cervantes Theatre is a theatre that is in South London, and they are producing Spanish and Latin American plays. And the thing about them is that they do the same production in Spanish and in English. And yeah, it's an amazing opportunity to see some Spanish and Latin American plays that maybe it's not that easy to see them here, and also to be performed in Spanish.
Right.
So yeah, that's the work they do.
So in a week, if you're performing a play, how many are in English and how many versions, or how do they mix up English and Spanish?
In a week, well, it depends, because sometimes they don't choose the same cast for doing both. But for example, with the City of the Spirits, that I was doing both cast, Spanish and in English, you can have 3 or 4 performances in the week in English and maybe 5 in Spanish, because you do also matinees. Usually matinees are more for schools, so they are in Spanish. And yeah, I will say usually it's Thursday, Friday, Saturdays English, and from Monday to Wednesday in Spanish with the matinees.
Wow. That must be such an amazing experience to one day step on stage and you're performing in Spanish, and the next day you step on stage and you're performing in English. I can't even imagine what that is.
Yeah, it's weird, and actors backstage, you know, we are trying to speak. Sometimes we are trying to speak in English if the day to perform in English, and the other way around, just to make sure that you don't mix it up. But it's because it's you really feel. I think, and I think this the people who see it from the audience also will agree with me. You feel it like different performances, like different production, even when they are the same. The play feels different, the rhythm is different, and the characters are also slightly different.
Mm. Yeah, gosh, amazing. Cool. Thank you so much, Laura. Thank you
Oh, thank you for having me. Yeah.
It's been really, really super useful. Thank you. Speak to you later.
Okay, bye.